Another case of anthrax exposure, this time at CBS News in New York.
We will not flinch. We will not bend.
And concerns close to home after a suspicious letter shows up at the office of Senator Kennedy.
A good deal of anxiety.
How real is the threat, and should we be taking precautions? We'll get the answers live from the experts on this special edition of the 7 o'clock news. America Fights Back. America's most pressing battle is being fought in the laboratory tonight. Good evening. I'm Jack Williams.
And I'm Sarah Underwood, in for Kim Kerrigan. Here's what's happening right now. There are now 6 confirmed cases of anthrax in the nation, and at least 38 cases of anthrax exposure. The latest person to contract anthrax was confirmed today. She's an assistant to CBS News anchor Dan Rather in New York, who is on antibiotics and is expected to recover. Let's get the very latest now from WBZ's national correspondent Drew Levinson. Drew.
Many employees here at CBS News say it was bound to happen, and the reaction runs from concern to fear. The face of CBS News, anchorman Dan Rather, says he is angry, but, quote, the law of the jungle is, don't lose your temper. CBS is the 3rd major network to feel the effects of anthrax close up. One of Dan Rather's assistants tested positive for the skin form of the bacteria. The woman, whose name has not been released, handles many of the letters that pour into the CBS anchorman.
We have no knowledge of any letter or any other suspicious material coming into the building.
About 2 weeks ago, the woman noticed swelling on her face and was tested. She's been on antibiotics and is responding well.
And I think the word heroic is apt in her case. She has not missed a day of work. She is working today.
CBS is talking to police, the health department, as well as Mayor Giuliani, who urged the city's residents not to storm the emergency rooms.
Every unnecessary test delays a necessary test.
CBS has not closed its world headquarters, and though there is great concern here and in some cases fear, many of the employees are trying to stay the course.
We're going to go about our business and be concerned and mindful. What else can you do?
Rather, who has covered every war since Vietnam, called this a unique battle being fought on American turf.
Well, the best way to fight back is get beyond our fears and do our jobs, do our duty, and stay united and stay steady.
A female postal worker in New Jersey who may have handled mail that was sent to Senator Tom Daschle and NBC has tested positive for exposure to anthrax. Meantime, authorities are offering a reward of up to $1 million for anyone who can help them track down who's responsible for sending anthrax through the mail. Live in New York, I'm Drew Levinson. Now back to you.
All right, Drew, thank you. In Washington, D.C., tests continue tonight to detect any anthrax that may have spread beyond the Senate office building. House lawmakers are now on recess, won't return to work until Tuesday. In Boston today, Senator Ted Kennedy's office was shut down after receiving a suspicious letter. WBZ's Sharon Alfonsi with the latest.
We are learning more about that letter sent to Senator Kennedy. We are told by a staffer that it was in fact addressed to the senator and that it was in fact threatening. The latest anthrax scare in the city today unfolded on the 24th floor of the JFK building, inside Senator Ted Kennedy's office. The senator was in Washington, but dozens of his staff members had just begun the day's work.
One of our staffers in Boston had opened a letter, and out of the letter some white powder came out and spilled on the desk and on the floor.
Initial field tests of that substance tested negative for anthrax. Still, 12 members of Kennedy's staff were rushed to Mass General as a precaution.
Protocol, as by both the Boston Public Health Commission and also the CDC guidelines, is that we would not treat those patients with antibiotics. So they are not being treated with antibiotics at this time.
The scare comes on the heels of mounting anxiety on Capitol Hill after nearly 3 dozen Senate employees tested positive for anthrax exposure. Still, the Bay State senior senator says this scare truly hit home.
This is an enormous relief to me personally, because these individuals have been, in one instance, Barbara Suliotis has worked for me for 42 years, and the others have been long and dear friends.
This afternoon, the office of Senator Kennedy remained closed. We are told that some fans that were also on the 24th floor were shut off only as a precaution. The FBI is now investigating. In Boston, Sharon Alfonsi, WBZ 4 News.
And still to come on tonight's 7 o'clock news, it is your chance to air your questions and concerns about anthrax. We'll be joined live by a representative from the State Department of Public Health. You can log on and ask your question now on the internet. The address is interactive@wbz.com. Please include your first name and hometown. Now that's still to come on the 7 o'clock news.
In New York City today, 4 followers of Osama bin Laden were sentenced for their roles in the 1998 U.S. embassy bombings in Africa. The judge sentenced all 4 men to life without parole. In addition, the men will have to pay millions of dollars in restitution to the victims' families. The 1998 explosions killed 231 people in Kenya and Tanzania. At least 13 people, including Osama bin Laden, are still wanted in connection with the 1998 embassy attacks. They make up the majority of the FBI's new most wanted terrorist list.
Now to the latest on the war effort in Afghanistan. Today, the Pentagon stressed that ground troops will be needed to finish the job. The military released this video today of some of the latest targets struck in Afghanistan. Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld also took a moment to acknowledge the troops involved in the operation.
Each time we report on the progress of the war, we are talking about the accomplishments of young men and women, brave Americans, who each day risk their lives so that the rest of us can live in freedom.
Secretary Rumsfeld will travel to Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri tomorrow to thank military personnel there. Sarah?
Jack, China is quietly expressing support for the U.S. mission in Afghanistan while cautioning the Bush administration to avoid unnecessary casualties. President Bush arrived in Shanghai this morning. He'll meet with leaders later tonight as part of the Asian-Pacific Economic Summit. The meeting is expected to be dominated by the events surrounding September 11th and how to jumpstart the struggling world economy. At Ground Zero today, Vice President Dick Cheney made his return to the public spotlight. Cheney traveled to New York today to get a closer look at the destruction of the World Trade Center. He's been hidden in a secure location since September 11th because of security concerns. Tonight, he'll address a political fundraiser at New York's historic Waldorf Astoria.
The 6th confirmed case of anthrax today in New York hit the stock market hard. When the closing bell rang, the Dow had dropped nearly 70 points. NASDAQ, though, was slightly up. We're told traders were again working under heavy security. They're having to go through metal detectors and bag checks before entering the building. Going beyond the headlines tonight, we're seeing an unusual side effect of the recent anthrax scares. Bayer, which produces the antibiotic Cipro, is seeing a steady rise in stock prices. On September the 21st, the stock closed at $23 a share, but today, after 2 weeks of the anthrax scare, the stock was trading around $31 a share. That's an increase of nearly 35%. Investors tell WBZ they're also seeing increased interest in companies working on drugs to treat other disasters, including smallpox.
Still to come, Ed Carroll's weekend forecast and the day's other news.
Acting Governor Swift launches a new campaign to the corner office. WBZ's John Henning reports when we return.
And heart history is made once again. We'll tell you about the latest success story for a Danvers-based medical company.
Also tonight, your chance to ask the expert. The Department of Public Health will be live in our studio to address your concerns about anthrax. You can log on to ask a question to interactive@wbz.com. You can ask your question. Be sure to leave your first name and hometown. Still to come on the 7 o'clock news.
On November 2nd.
He killed a guy. Something to do with that.
You're a little liar, aren't you, Danny?
The father he trusts.
Danny blesses just about everybody, but he doesn't lie to me.
Must protect him from the stepfather he fears.
Do you think I'm going to endanger my own child by marrying a killer?
John Travolta.
I have never failed Danny, ever, and I'm not going to fail him now.
Vince Vaughn.
This is between you and me.
Domestic disturbance. Rated PG-13. November 2nd everywhere.
You're at a stoplight. You're making a turn. You're pulling into traffic. There are a lot of reasons every 2002 Saturn L Series comes standard with head curtain airbags. Those are just a few. The Saturn L Series.
Get 0% APR financing on all Saturn models. For restrictions, see your retailer.
What's the best part about legal seafoods? Well, a lot of people around here say it's the atmosphere. And some people mention the fresh seafood. But we know the real reason. It's that first bite. If it isn't fresh and delicious, it isn't legal.
Whoever said that beauty is skin deep, or that a cover is no way to judge a book, has never experienced Toyota RAV4. Some may insist that true beauty lies beneath the surface. Still, we have to warn you, when you see it, you'll want it. You'll be pulled like a magnet toward your New England Toyota dealer, where you'll actually drive it, learn how affordable it is, and realize this may be the most beautiful Toyota ever. Get the feeling. And you'll have to take it home.
Now, the 7 o'clock news on UPN 38.
Today, acting Governor Jane Swift quietly confirmed what many had expected. She plans to run for the corner office next year.
Swift made the announcement today while greeting Bay State troops who are being called into action. WBZ senior correspondent John Henning caught up with the acting governor, and they talked about the tough road ahead.
The trappings of being the governor of the Commonwealth. Despite a hectic pace, it's a job Jane Swift wants to keep. Mother of 3, acting governor, now candidate. Does that complicate your life?
Sure, but it is easier, although not easy, to spend time away from your children when you're doing work that you think is important and makes a difference.
Jane Swift made history as the state's first female governor and the first ever in the country to deliver while in office. Now, as the country and state confront issues of historic proportions, she wants to stay at the helm. Priority list as acting governor and now candidate.
Well, a priority for the next several months remains security, making sure that we respond to the fiscal challenge before us.
Paring back the budget by hundreds of millions of dollars won't win Swift any friends. But Logan Airport is the real Pandora's box. Jane Swift and Paul Cellucci always marketed themselves as co-governors, putting Swift's fingerprints on the appointment of Virginia Buckingham as Massport's leader. Restoring integrity at Logan is on one hand an opportunity for Swift, but it's also a problem, like her demotion of the former security chief Joe Lawless without a reduction in pay.
I think that independence means that you put the public's safety before political allies and friendship.
How Swift handles the recommendations of the Massport Reform Commission could define her candidacy.
She has to show decisive leadership and show that she can make the changes that are recommended. So that will be a major challenge for Jane Swift.
State Treasurer Shannon O'Brien is one of 5 Democrats who'd like to run against Swift a year from November. Up until recently, O'Brien has been reticent to directly criticize the acting governor, but not today, as you saw. Now the rules of engagement have changed, and the acting governor is going to find that as a candidate, she becomes a much bigger political target. On Beacon Hill, I'm John Henning, WBZ 4 News.
An attorney at the center of the Clinton White House scandal is now coming to the defense of a former Boston police officer. Robert Bennett, seen on the right, has now agreed to defend Kenneth Conley. Conley, you might remember, was convicted of perjury and obstruction of justice in the case of Michael Cox. Cox was a Boston police officer who was beaten by fellow officers who thought he was a suspect. But the judge threw out Conley's conviction after new evidence surfaced in the case.
Oh, yes, I'm in for the long haul. I hope that they'll take a new, fresh look at it in light of all sorts of things that have occurred since the original trial.
Apparently, Bennett took the case at the urging of Congressman Delahunt and the late Congressman Joe Moakley. The U.S. Attorney's Office has until next month to decide whether to retry the Conley case.
A leak plaguing Boston's Big Dig project will cost big money and delays. Engineers have been struggling to plug the leak on the west side of the Fort Point Channel. Today, Big Dig officials admitted the delay could push the completion date back 3 months to March of 2005. The problem is also expected to cost taxpayers an extra $60 million. This part of the project is essential to connecting the Mass Pike and the Ted Williams Tunnel. Another historic transplant of the Abiocor artificial heart. Doctors in Los Angeles have transplanted the self-contained heart into a man in his 70s. That marks the 4th successful transplant of the heart, which is made by the Danvers-based Abiomed company. The patient is said to be resting comfortably.
The national anthrax scare has lots of people very concerned, and they're asking questions.
Tonight, we hope to have some answers for you. One of the state's top scientists joins us live in the studio when the 7 o'clock news continues.
The things you love about Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs, this may be the most interesting. Announcing interest-free financing on all Toyota Corollas, Tundras, and 4Runners for a limited time only.
This weekend, Bayside Expo Center. Sony Kenwood Foskey Pioneer more stereos and car stereos. To 70% off. Disney movies, $5. DVDs, $5. CDs from Madonna, Aaliyah, Nelly Furtado, Snoop Dogg. Thousands of CDs from $5. Egyptian and Oriental vases. Fan statues, crystals, more gifts. To 70% off. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Also this weekend at the Bayside Expo Center. Computer liquidation sale. Pentium computers, $199. Color Pentium laptops, $399. Color scanners and printers, $49. Webcams, $19. Thousands of software titles from $3.
Everyone's working together to get things moving again. Here's our contribution. 0% financing on most Chrysler cars and minivans. And if you buy now, no monthly payments for 90 days. Now it's never been easier to drive home a new Chrysler car or minivan. So take advantage of these great offers. It's our way of helping move things forward again. See your local Chrysler dealer today.
If watching the same old thing on TV leaves you begging for more, it's time you took a closer look at the power of AT&T cable. Unleash an extraordinary world of non-stop entertainment with AT&T cable and enjoy the hottest movies, heart-pounding sports, incredible family programming, up-to-the-minute news, and all your favorite local broadcast stations. Plus, from HBO, award-winning original programming, Hollywood hits, championship sports, and exclusive events like the epic miniseries Band of Brothers. Because right now, when you sign up for AT&T cable, we'll give you all the HBO you can watch until the end of the year at no additional cost. And if you call us toll-free at 1-866-GO-CABLE, we'll also install your service for free. So don't wait any longer to save up to $75 on AT&T cable. Call us toll-free at 1-866-GO-CABLE and turn up the power on your TV.
Safety on the home front continues to be a top priority here at WBZ, and tonight we're joined by Ralph Timperi from the Department of Public Health to discuss the recent anthrax scare and hopefully to alleviate some of the concerns. Ralph, people have been near panic, not all people, but a great number of people. They don't want to open their mail. Some people are not going outside. They have all kinds of questions, and they're very fearful. Some of them are even going and taking illegally this Cipro drug. How do you assess the danger personally right now that people face?
Anthrax is a rare disease in the United States. It will continue to be a rare disease in the United States. There's very little risk of infection of the anthrax infections via the mail.
We have a question from Eileen from Revere, and she says, what if you are allergic to Cipro and penicillin? Are there other drugs that work?
There are many antibiotics that are effective in treating anthrax and many other bacterial infections, so they don't need to worry about that.
Okay. Here's another question. This comes from Angel from Chelsea. Is it possible that people without symptoms may be carrying anthrax?
Well, anthrax carriers are not known to occur, so if you are exposed to a small number of anthrax spores and you don't get an infection, it won't be a problem of carriage.
Well, let me follow up a little bit on that, Ralph, if I could, because apparently there are two types of anthrax. One you can get through a cut in the skin, which we've seen how some of the infections have taken place. The other would be from inhaling the anthrax spores. if one inhales anthrax, is there any particular effects that they would notice fairly fast? Would it be the blotches they get like they would on the skin? How would they recognize if they would be infected?
Well, inhalation anthrax is the most serious form. It is a dangerous disease. Once you have severe symptoms, those that you would look for would be shortness of breath, difficulty in breathing, heavy sweating, and a very high fever. And you should seek medical care very quickly, obviously, at that point in time.
So you could tell you were sick, in other words. I mean, you are sick.
You could tell you were very sick at that point in time, but it's very difficult to treat from that point forward once you have those severe symptoms.
There have been a lot of false reports lately. A lot of people bringing into the health department golf shoes, board games, thinking they've seen some kind of white powder on that. Are people being too fearful?
There's much too much overreaction to this issue right now, and out of the over 400 specimens we've now received into the laboratory, less than 10 of those had anything that looked unusual and suspicious, and all of those have tested negative. So there's no cause for concern. People are reporting every little particle of dust that they see on anything in their homes as if it's a risk, and it's not.
It's sort of interesting. I was checking around the country. Chicago, they had a green sticky substance was found on the street. Panicked. Hazmat team came in. It was guacamole dip. In Dallas, at the bottom of a potato chip bag, they found a white substance. It turned out to be salt. I mean, people are just overreacting to this point.
Even in the worst case, if you were unlucky enough to be exposed to anthrax, which is out there in very small amounts in male, the risk of disease is extremely small. It's quite unlikely that you would get inhalation anthrax. There is a risk to cutaneous contact anthrax, but that's easily treated, and you can wash your hands with soap and water if you were exposed to a powder, take a shower, and the treatment is highly effective against cutaneous anthrax.
And let me just wrap this up so people can really understand this. In your professional opinion, do you think in this country we're going to see a massive outbreak of anthrax killing tens of thousands of people?
It's one of the most unlikely events, bioterrorism, to occur. There are many other worries that we need to be addressing, and we need to stop worrying ourselves to illness. This is really an unhealthy state that we have right now, and we need to stop worrying.
All right, Ralph Temperi, thanks for being here tonight to help us ease some of our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. You know, it's a beautiful fall day, but we have the weekend coming up. What's ahead?
Meteorologist Ed Carroll is next with the full forecast.
Also ahead, hear what veteran anchor Dan Rather had to say at the end of his newscast tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Hughes. Coming up tonight on WBZ4 News at 11, how prepared is your family for an emergency? We have some specific Red Cross guidelines on how to get ready. Watch tonight's Safety on the Home Front report at 11 o'clock, only on WBZ4 News.
A neurotic new girlfriend.
You're afraid of heights, aren't you?
I'm taking classes.
Brings out the analyst in Frasier.
I think all I'm interested in is her mind. How shallow do you think I am?
On Frasier.
Tonight at 7:30 on UPN 38. The Boston Bruins are back on the ice, and UPN 38 is there to bring you all the action. Join us Saturday night at 8 as the Bruins battle the Nashville Predators here on UPN 38. All the things you love about Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. This may be the most interesting. Announcing interest-free financing on all 2002 Corollas, Tundras, and 4Runners that could save you thousands. See your New England Toyota dealer now. 0% financing ends October 31st.
Well, I sent my brother a present last year.
It's a great day for a birthday.
But this year, I'm ordering from 1-800-Flowers.com, and I'm going to send him a cake made out of fresh-cut flowers. It's going to smell so good. 1-800-Flowers.com is more than just flowers. You can send teddy bears and gourmet food. You name it.
Hi, I'm Jim McCann from 1-800-Flowers.com. Visit us online or call us at 1-800-Flowers today.
10? I'll take
test him.
10. I'll have 1 slice of honey ham, 1 slice of prosciutto, and 1 slice of hot capicola.
Okay.
A lot bigger selection than we got.
Shaw's buys over 200 deli items and then puts in each store with the people that shop there like best.
We're dead meat.
Anything else?
A slice of fat-free turkey. My girlish figure.
You worry about that?
Oh, you sweet thing.
Shaw's Supermarkets. The choice is yours.
Isn't it cute? Yes.
Saturn is working to keep our economy strong. In jobs, in commerce, and in spirit. As part of that effort, we're providing interest-free financing on every new coupe, sedan, and wagon we make. Come visit your Saturn retailer and keep America rolling.
Next at 7:30, Frasier is on UPN 38, and Entertainment Tonight is on WBZ4. Now, the 7 o'clock news on UPN 38.
Well, what another terrific fall day we had today.
A beauty, but a little chilly out there tonight. Are we going to see some frost around, do you think, Ed?
Yeah, in some of those deep valley areas, Sarah and Jack, we've got some chilly readings come tomorrow morning. No doubt it could slip below the freezing mark. In fact, it's already dropping into the 40s from Worcester out through Orange right now. We're still above 50 here in Boston, but the sky is crystal clear. We had a few clouds running through eastern sections of Canada and some to the east of Cape Cod by a few hundred miles. Other than that, it was nice and dry out there today, and we should do it all over again tomorrow. 30s again during the pre-dawn hours of this upcoming Friday, and we'll see a lot of sunshine. There'll also be a southwesterly breeze, so I think our highs tomorrow should be shooting up into the 60s. Fairly quiet weather for the next several days or so. We're looking at some sunshine pretty much across the board. We'll have temperatures tomorrow again pushing the lower 60s. Same deal for Saturday, maybe a sprinkle in the mountaintops, and sunshine returns for Sunday and Monday. So a good-looking forecast coming at you. Sarah and Jack, back to you.
All righty, Ed, thank you. And finally tonight, let's bring you the very latest developments as America fights back.
Within the hour, veteran anchorman Dan Rather addressed today's confirmed anthrax case at CBS News.
What happened to a respected and loyal colleague and beloved friend here at CBS News today drove home the point in a very personal way that it has been just over 5 weeks now since everything changed and the threat of terror in this country became a real part of everyday life. And while the threat of terror, whether through the air or the mail, is with us always now, fear need not be. The rescue workers who gave their lives taught us that with their courage.
And the good news is that the woman is being treated. She's expected to recover, and we continue to track the latest developments. Thank you for watching, everyone. Be sure to tune in to WBZ4 News tonight at 11.
And I'll be back tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock on WBZ4, then right here on the 7 o'clock news on UPN 38. Good night.
Good night.